It's a pleasure to meet you again, and welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad I can be participating to your show. I'm from home, quarantined, self-quarantined as every citizen of Uzbekistan, every resident in the Republic of Uzbekistan.
For our viewers, I will introduce Rafael. Jozan is the regional head of French Development Agency in Uzbekistan. It's a public financial institution that implements policy defined by the French government, and it works to fight poverty, promote sustainable development. Rafael, today IFD has a number of projects in Uzbekistan, and you yourself have been, I believe, in Tashkent for about 5 years, right?
Yes, exactly.
So my first question would be, how long has IFD been active in Uzbekistan? Are you the first regional head who is based in Tashkent?
Exactly. To be more precise, IFD is financing projects. We don't have our own projects here. We finance projects, and mostly projects from the government, governmental projects. We have been starting operations, financial operations 5 years ago, indeed. And IFD group decided to open a rep office in Tashkent that is in charge of the whole region, Central Asia. And we have opened this office in August 2015. And I was in charge of opening this office and in charge of developing the activities during the last 5 years.
How big overall does Central Asia play in the region, in the full portfolio of IFD as a region?
Basically, we plan annual commitment of financing about 200 million euros per year. It means that globally, IFD is financing about 15 billion euros per year. Then it's in between 1 and 2% of IFD activities globally. It is a very important mission. It is a very important portfolio for IFD. We are expanding, and we believe that after developing our activities in Uzbekistan, we will further develop in other countries of the region, like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan.
So the full portfolio of IFD in Central Asia is in Uzbekistan at the moment?
Mainly, basically, IFD Group, we have also some operations in Kazakhstan, and we are also identifying some operations in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, but mainly for the private sector and through our sister company, Proparco. But the main activity of the region for IFD is definitely Uzbekistan, thanks to the development, significant development of our activity during the last 5 years. Up to date, we have committed between 500 and 600 million euros already since 2015 in several sectors and several projects of the government of Uzbekistan.
Grants versus loans. I know you have some grants, and I know you have loans as well. How does it work? Does every loan has a grant element, or is it separate?
Yeah, we provide 2 different kind of loans. It's investment-based loans and public policy loans also. Investment loans, it's to finance like basically infrastructure, and the public policy loans is to finance the reforms, the ongoing reforms led by the government. This is loans. This is concessional loans, then very cheap for the government of Uzbekistan. And part of this loan is financed by grants from the government of France in order to have the lower rates as possible. Besides the financing of the project, we have also several grants that are used. First, grants to finance all studies, feasibility studies required before the investment or required before we design a project. But then we have also some technical assistance that is financed by grants, and there it is financed either by the French government or also by the European Union. Indeed, AFD is a European financing institution, not only a French bank, French public bank, but also a European financing bank. And we are implementing here the French development policy and the European development policy. Therefore, most of our, I wouldn't say all, but a lot of projects are basically co-financed by the European Union. And the European Union in Uzbekistan is providing mainly grants. And this is where we blend the loan and the grant.
Tell me about the recent projects. So you recently you have started a number of projects, and it's clear that your activity has been increasing over the past few years. How would you, well, before maybe we go into the projects, very briefly, how would you describe the dynamics, you know, over the last 5 years that you've been in Uzbekistan? Especially, I want to understand the transition from the first the president to the second president. What has really changed in practice?
Of course, it has significantly accelerated. But I must underline that French government and also the French Development Agency decided to be active in Uzbekistan already in 2012. Then it was during the presidency of Islam Karimov, and we started some discussions with EU and the government of Uzbekistan on the first project that is financed by AFD, which is the solid waste management of Samarkand city in 2014. During the first 3 years, it was the opportunity for AFD to settle in Uzbekistan, to understand what are the development challenges, understand the procedures, understand, start working with the ministries and final beneficiaries. And it was extremely useful to be already on the ground in Uzbekistan when the new president, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, has pushed these reforms, and AFD was already here, and we could take all opportunities available, and definitely it has accelerated. But I must underline that AFD was able to take those opportunities and propose some assistance to the government in many fields because we were based in Tashkent. And I must say that during the last 5 years, even the first 2 years, it was extremely intense. Opening the office, building the grounds of the activities, starting up the first project, and then, of course, developing the portfolio in many sectors as communal services, urban development, energy, and of course, the support to the reforms that are pushed by the government in collaboration and with the support of the international financial institutions. Then, yes, after 5 years, I really have this idea that I could be part of a very important historic period of the Republic of Uzbekistan, with the significant acceleration of development, with a significant change of development path. And yes, I was very, very much interested, and especially for one officer that had been living already in Uzbekistan 15 years ago. And it was a great opportunity to be here, work with the government, and participate to the effort of the Uzbek and international community to support these reforms and this implementation of this ambitious development strategy that has been designed and proposed by the President Mirziyoyev in February 2017.
If I look at the period, that Samarkand project, the integrated solid waste management project, has in fact just been announced, I believe, not so long ago in Uzbek press. Am I right? Or is it an old project which is being implemented?
Several days ago, part of this program and the implementation of the project started in 2017. Mm-hmm. But recently, we have EU and AFD approved that part of the financing will be supporting and financing the COVID-19 action plan that was designed by Marakanobod, which is the public entity in charge of solid waste management in Samarkand. This is one additional component that was added to the program, and it was approved several days ago. And of course, because of the situation, and because also of the opportunity of the excellent work done by the management of the company, with the assistance of the experts, French experts working with them. They have designed this COVID-19 action plan in order to adapt their actions, to adapt their measures to the medical wastes, basically.
Yeah.
And this is crucial for the population, but also for the workers who are on the front line of the COVID-19 crisis.
What I was bringing to asking about the period between the initiation of the project, or let's say the concept of it, to the initiation of the execution phase. It seems quite long. The first project seemed quite long, even if it was initiated 2014, then the implementation started 2017. How would you say, is that a standard with IFD, or does it take longer in Uzbekistan, or maybe shorter? So how does the situation compare in this sense? How fast can IFD initiate project in today's environment in Uzbekistan?
Yeah. To be very frank, I think that we are working on complex projects, and if the government of Uzbekistan is requiring assistance, technical and financial assistance from IFIs like AFD or World Bank, ADB, this is also because some actions, some projects must be designed and implemented with the assistance of the international community, and because we are speaking about very complex projects, and between the design and the implementation, you cannot have a project well designed and well approved by IFD board and the government in less than 2 years. And there is the back and forth movement of discussions, of negotiations, of
how much is really necessary. So in terms of bureaucracy, you know, looking at France, looking at Uzbekistan, I did my MBA in France, so I know things can get quite bureaucratic in France as well. How does how much of it can be really considered as bureaucracy, and how much of it is really the time necessary for dialogue? Very frankly,
it's quite difficult but very frankly, we have the same case now with hydroelectricity, and we are speaking about multi-million euros investment. This is not petty money, and this is the money of the state. This is the money of Uzbek people, and of course it should be well used. And I think that this is a necessary process to have these discussions. What is more challenging for a financial institution like AFD and others is working in this environment of reform, because we are designing projects in one environment that is every day changing. Then, and I'm not speaking only about the political situation, it's also the institutional situation, the laws, the institutional arrangements, the power of local governments, etc., etc. And this is a must. And then this is once again the situation, and we cannot. I mean, we have to do with it. The design of the projects have to be revised significantly, and this is where it makes the decision making quite challenging. And for AFD, this is a very common situation. What is also important here is that we understand that the capacity of the government is quite high in terms of decision making.
Elaborate?
Yes, I can elaborate. I mean, the technical capacity of Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Investment, Ministry, and the line ministries involved in the sectors where AFD is operating is quite high. And
you mean the level of
challenging
decision making?
Yeah, no, in terms of revision and reviewing all documentation provided by the technical assistants and the international experts. And this is a good point, that the international experts, they cannot sell a kind of solution that they copy paste from another country. And this is a very particular situation in Uzbekistan, is that the state is able to challenge the technical assistance, is able to challenge the experts, which of course makes the project more in line with the requirements of the Uzbek people. This is something. And I must say that AFD is also working in other countries around the world where the capacity of the state is not as high as in Uzbekistan, and where, sometimes there could be some problems in terms of, relevance of the technical and financial solution proposed to the state.
Clear. One more question, slightly different topic, but also very relevant, about the French content. You are obviously, of course, one thing is the EU money, it's another thing that it's French money. So how important, or what's the requirement of the French content within the projects that you are implementing in terms of execution?
I would put it this way, that in terms of requirements, there is no requirements. It's fully untied technical and financial assistance, meaning there is no requirements in terms of French companies or French elements that would be sold to the final beneficiary. This is one part. Nevertheless, I would say that AfD in Uzbekistan is only working in areas where the government of Uzbekistan considers that we have a value added, meaning that France has the expertise and coming with expertise as some companies, as some institutional models and sometimes equipment that could be sold, of course. There is a great interest of the government of Uzbekistan to work with AfD because we don't come with some requirements. Then this is fully open tenders, mostly international tenders, and everybody can bid and compete.
Okay. You said financing is cheap. So what's cheap for you?
What do you mean cheap?
In the beginning, you mentioned that the financing of IFD is quite.
Yeah, I use the word of concessional loan. Yeah, definitely. The money that is provided by IFD is either the grant, then this is definitely free, and or the loan. And the loan that we are providing is much. The terms are much more interesting than what the government of Uzbekistan could afford or could get on the international markets.
What about how do you compare to other IFIs? You know, I'm sure you know in a nutshell.
Yeah, the IFDs. First of all, we bring some concessional loan that are subsidized by the French government. And this is very significant. This is very significant. I cannot give more details, but we are subsidizing the loan that AfD is providing. This is first. Second, we provide some loan with a big maturity, up to 20 years maturity, with including some grace period. Then, yeah, AfD is providing very interesting terms with the support of the French government. And I must say that, yeah, we are very competitive comparing to other IFIs, including European IFIs. But as you know, the needs of financing of Uzbekistan is huge.
Substantial.
Then it's really huge. Then this is not. Then and the French government knows that and knows that the responsibility of the Uzbek government to accelerate the development here for the Uzbek people, but also for the region. And then, frankly speaking, I think it is not a matter of terms. Of course, for the Ministry of Finance, there is an issue there. There is an issue there, but we have built a very interesting and open communication and partnership with the Ministry of Finance. They are interested by the loan we provide, but also by the technical assistance we provide to the Ministry of Finance. As you know, the Uzbek budget was designed according to some French standards.
Yes.
In the 90s. And there is a strong technical assistance, technical cooperation between the two ministries, and AfD is bringing some financing to make this cooperation live. And this is also very important, and this is not only the terms that are counting. And what is important also is that AfD And this is why also the Ministry of Finance is trusting AFD. We are bringing significant size of loan up to 150 million this year. We just approved 150 million of budget support for the energy sector.
From this point, coming to the public policy loans that you have, of course, you have a PhD in sociology and I think master in public administration. You know very well, not just in theory but also in practice, the challenges Uzbekistan is facing is by the book for public policy challenges and key. Let's say key social challenges that the country is facing within the government administration. How does is IFT somehow involved in these processes as well in terms of public policy loans?
Yeah, but this year we are financing and co-financing a public policy loan with ADB, the Asian Development Bank, and we are very strong partners. This public policy loan was part and is part of a huge program to reform the energy sector and make some very important investments in the distribution of the electricity to the people and to the companies, etc. This year we are moving with the PBL because one of the critical parts is to reform the energy sector, reform the Ministry of Energy, reform the companies that have been created for generation, transport, and distribution. And AFD was supportive of this reform because it is, of course, a critical pillar of the Uzbek economy, but also, and I must underline that it was a must for AFD because of the commitment of the Uzbek government to implement the Paris Agreement on climate change. As you know, the Ministry of Energy and the government of Uzbekistan, through this strategy that has been approved by the president in October 2019, this strategy towards the green economy has taken very significant targets of decrease of the emissions of greenhouse gases, of decommissioning the dirtiest electricity generation facilities using coal and gas and replacing them with some clean tech or more clean tech, or through developing the renewable energies. Then this is what we are basically supporting, bringing some technical assistance with ADB to push the reform, design the reform, and also finance the reform. We wanted to finance as a PBL about 80 million euros. But at the end of the day, because of the needs of the government in the situation of COVID-19 and considering the budget needs for the people and for the most vulnerable people and also for the companies and especially for the SMEs that have been developing, we have decided to top up the amount and to go to 150 million euros instead of 80 million euros.
How much of it was reallocated?
No, it's not a reallocation. This is in addition. This is in addition. And on the same day, on the 9th of July, we have also approved a project for the development of sanitation system. This is what is very interesting, is that the government in parallel is pushing the reform, is financing the COVID-19 crisis actions plan, and in parallel is also financing the essential infrastructure that are required in the region, in secondary cities, for the people, and also for the economic development. This is very striking. This is this board where we have committed 255 million euros of loan and 10 million euros grants. Mm-hmm. This is a very interesting decision where you see all efforts that AfD, the European Union, and the government of Uzbekistan are bringing together to finance immediate needs, but also the needs for the future, the reforms, and also the climate change, and also the infrastructure needs.
In 2018, the president of Uzbekistan went to France. There was a state visit. What I want to ask, did it change anything in practice? Did you see the impact of that visit post 2018? Not through the reforms in Uzbekistan, but through the development of the relationship between Uzbekistan and France.
Yeah, but, the visit of President Mirziyoyev is a key, of course. He's a strong leader. He's designing the development path. He's pretty much involved in the management of the state and every important decisions in the policy making, in the investments. Of course, he's involved, and he knows very well the situation of Uzbekistan. He knows the challenges. He goes to the region. I mean, he knows the needs. Then for us, we have considered this visit as a very important milestone, and we could have been able during this visit to crystallize an agreement and a cooperation program for the next 5 years. It was a very critical moment for us, and since 2018, we are with the government of Uzbekistan implementing this cooperation program that is above 600 million euros worth of loan plus the grant. But I must say that it's not only a milestone for France and for AfD. As you remember, this visit was the first visit of President Mirziyoyev to Europe, and he decided to visit the President Macron. But definitely, this is it was a critical moment for Europe, and I remember that EBRD, EIB, and other European financial institutions and enterprises had considered this visit as a critical moment. And I must say that AfD is taking a big part of the connection between Uzbekistan and France.
What do you say would be the key objectives for the next 5 years for AfD in Uzbekistan?
I think that, and basically next September, we will launch the process of preparing the new program for the next 5 years.
Next September meaning September 21?
Well, no, September 2020.
Right.
Okay. But the cooperation agreement will be signed mid-2021 for the next 5 years. I think that we, EU, AfD, government of Uzbekistan, we have well understood where are the sectors where AFD will bring the value added. First of all, this is climate change. As I told you, government of Uzbekistan has very strong commitment in implementing the Paris Agreement on climate change, and AFD will be a key partner of the government in these regards, decreasing emissions, providing, developing the renewable energies, developing the energy efficiency technologies in Uzbekistan, but also, and this is also very important, adaptation measures, because as you know, the Uzbekistan is experiencing very intense impact in terms of climate change, and this is something to be taken very seriously, especially for the farmers, especially for the vulnerable people in the cities and the rural areas. And AFD will be a key partner, not to say the leading partner for Uzbekistan on this area. The second area to me, and this is also something we discussed with the Ministry of Investment in June, preparing the meeting we will have in September. Second area is the urban development. This is where France, AFD has a very strong expertise. And when I speak about the urban development, I'm speaking about, of course, the communal services, water, sanitation, waste management. Then there are already key areas for AFD, but it will remain the same for the future. I'm speaking also about transport, and the Hokimiyat of Tashkent city is proposing some actions in the transport. We will definitely work.
Do the green vehicles have anything to do with that?
I think it's there is much to do with the collective transport modes. Yeah, this is key. But also district heating. I must underline that I'm not speaking only about Samarkand and Tashkent. We are speaking here also about the secondary cities of the country. Shakhisabz, Kitob, Karmana, Altiarik, Kuva. We are speaking also about Parkent city. And this is striking to underline that the government of Uzbekistan is not only investing in the biggest cities, it's also investing in rural areas, it's investing in the districts, it's investing in secondary cities, because this is how the development should be done, sustainable development. And the development should be balanced, of course, with great expectations from the populations in the rural areas. Climate, the urban sector, and of course, we will finance, and this is the last pillar, we will finance also the agriculture. Agriculture is also a key. We are preparing a project in the livestock sector, also connected to what I was saying of developing the rural areas, but this time supporting the spread and the financing of green tech in agriculture.
Mm-hmm. My final question is slightly personal. So you are finishing your very long period in Central Asia, in Uzbekistan. It's a very important position and important role you have played for a long period of time. One thing or one experience in Uzbekistan that has taught you something, and something that you will probably never forget. An experience or a situation that happened in Uzbekistan over the last 5 years that made a life-changing impact, or at least something that challenged you personally?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think it's the end for me and Uzbekistan. I mean, of course, it's the end of a period of my life, and not only for me, but also for my family, for my kids, for my wife. We have been very happy here, discovering Uzbekistan, participating to this extremely interesting historical moment. But I mean, as I told you, 15 years ago, I was here. I did my PhD on Uzbekistan and Central Asia on some issues related to water management. And at this time, Uzbekistan and Central Asia built who I am. And I know that who I am now is thanks to Uzbekistan, also for this specific period that we are ending. I will always be a support of Uzbek people. And of course, I will be in touch with my colleagues who will take over the position. Yeah, I have many friends here. And you were speaking about something that struck me, and who there is something I do when I can. Even I'm taking a lot of photography, and I have I took my camera just with me, yeah, I loved very much the moment I could travel in Uzbekistan, also thanks to my work, visiting the projects, visiting Uzbekistan, understanding the geography, understanding the evolution. I took a lot of pictures of landscape. I met a lot of people, incredible people, being ministers, farmers, water managers, dam managers, and yeah, in the next future, this is something I would like to propose and to give also to Uzbekistan, is this set of photographs that I have taken and that I would like to share with, of course, the Uzbek people, but also with those who dream of Uzbekistan. And there are so many people who dream to come here to visit and be part of this incredible history and of this incredible moment. And I will be pleased to send you some pictures. I'm working on it.
It would be great. We will publish also the article, the written article. It would be great to put just a couple of pictures done through your eyes. We are also planning an exhibition in Brussels with the European Uzbek Association, actually. Photography exhibition through the eyes of the diplomats who are based in Brussels. So we will be contacting you. One last question. Uzbekistan is a very young population. Over 60% of people is under 35, under 30, I think even. What would be the maybe 2 recommendations? And we have the Uzbek review is there are a lot of well-educated Uzbek young people who are watching our program. And part of the reason we started even this program is to transmit the knowledge, not about the world, but also to try to send some messages from senior figures towards really the young population. What would be the few things that you would recommend to young people in Uzbekistan, perhaps to do today or to do that?
It's difficult to. I mean, I'm not young anymore. Even I'm not 30 anymore. But then I would not give any advice to them. But I would like to share something. When I was 15 years ago, I was very sad. I was very sad seeing the lack of opportunities for the young people at this time. And many of my friends are in the regions who had to leave. They had to leave Uzbekistan because there was no options, no opportunity, and I think that it was the cost of stability, it was the cost of sovereignty, and now what we are experiencing, and I hope that COVID-19 will not stop this process, is that based on this stability and sovereignty, opportunities are opening. And it was during the last 4 years, it was incredible to see young Uzbek believing in Uzbekistan, understanding that this is where they should be, this is where they should go. Also understanding that in the world, it's not, it's also difficult there, but here in Uzbekistan, there is a future, there is some opportunities, and it gave me a great emotion to see that what gave me the sadness before was actually changing. And I understood also the process, the whole process, and I hope that this COVID-19 will not stop this positive process. And as I underlined, I think that it should make Uzbekistan even stronger, based on this very deep stability and also these important assets they have. Then, I would say that enjoy and share your traditions with keep being a very kind people and very welcoming people to foreigners. And yes, believe in Uzbekistan, and let's keep building it and keep developing it.
Thank you very much, Rafael, Jozan. We wish you all the best of luck, and we hope to see you soon again in Tashkent.
Okay, thank you.